SMU is now less than 24 hours away from a must-win game for the conference, for the fan base, and maybe because of Louisville?
You are Locked On SMU, your daily podcast on the SMU Mustangs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On SMU on a Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day, and now the number one sports podcast network that is out there. We are the daily podcast covering the Mustangs, football, basketball, and whatever else is going on in the world of pony athletics. My name is Grayson Singleton, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Right now, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase with our friends at Game Time. Hey, coming up on the show today, yes, we're going to talk about why it's a must-win game, but also I'm going to give you my keys to the game. I've got a couple of them that I think SMU needs to check off to win this game on Saturday morning. Plus, recruiting has been good and recruiting can be bad as well. I'll tell you about that at the end of the show to close things out. But let's go ahead and start with a must-win game. Like tomorrow's a must-win game. And we know that it's a must-win game for you to stay in the race for the conference championship. Virginia's got one conference game left. Georgia Tech has one conference game left. Georgia Tech will wrap up its slate tomorrow night against Pitt. So we'll know whether or not Georgia Tech is going to solidify one of those ACC championship game spots. Virginia, you'll have to wait till next week when they play Virginia Tech. Virginia's off this week at 9-2 and a one-loss team in the conference. But there's three reasons I think that this is a must-win game for SMU. And number one, let's talk about the fan base and the overall feel around the program. And everybody believes in what Rhett Lashlee has built and what he's continuing to build and what he's continuing to entrench in Dallas on the hilltop, right? We all believe that he's a quality coach. We all believe that he's got a quality quarterback and he's got a great staff around him. But boy, would this be a letdown. And there's numerous teams around the country every single year that face this proposition. You have success, you put yourself in position, and now you find yourself in the critical game. And this is the critical game. Now, some of those teams lose those games. And some of those teams, the really, really good teams, the championship contending teams, find a way to win those games. Every single team. But there is a spot where you have the success and you put yourself in position and you've expended all the energy to put yourself in the position and then you can't cross the finish line. That happens to a lot of teams. Here's what plays into SMU's favor so well, I think. I think the spot plays well because A, you're coming off of a bye week, and B, you're playing against a Louisville team that is now decimated. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But keeping it with what SMU's got to do. They have to win this game because you as the fans are going to be so let down if they don't, right? The whole mood is just going to deflate as quickly as a balloon when you untie it. Or, when you blow up a balloon and you don't tie it, it just collapses. That's going to be the feel if SMU doesn't beat this Louisville team at home on Senior Day. Right. So, for a morale standpoint, from the fan base standpoint, they want to go out and see, do we have a shot at the ACC championship game next Saturday? And that's what I think the mindset has to be coming in, is that we are keeping ourselves afloat. We are still on a 1-week season. That's what it has to feel like. You have to feel like you're on a 1-week season, and the win over Miami and the win over Boston College are just steps toward accomplishing a 1-0 season every single week. That's what it's got to be. So that's the fan base side of things. You want to see SMU win it just because you've seen the success. You've seen it build to this point in the home regular season finale. Now go do it. The second reason it's a must-win game for SMU is for the conference. And we all know the situation. SMU needs to win out. If they don't win out, they're going to need a ton of help. And then if you don't win out, that also throws back into the conversation a myriad of permutations that could get you in the championship and could not. But you want to win out for your simplest path to the conference championship and then hope that the right things around you fall into place. Right. Georgia Tech is a 2.5-point favorite at Pitt versus Pitt. Georgia Tech's at home. Pitt just got beat down by Notre Dame. In all honesty, just watching the two teams play over the course of the season, I expect Georgia Tech to win that game, and I expect Georgia Tech to clinch one of the spots in the ACC title game. That's where I'm at. Virginia's got a game against Virginia Tech. That game, could go either way. Renewed morale. James Franklin just got hired by Virginia Tech. Sometimes that can play a role into it, but Virginia is clearly the better team there. So you have to keep pace. You have to keep pace. Now, am I saying that this game is going to be the most contested of the three that we're watching? Probably not. I think Georgia Tech and Pitt will be nip and tuck the entire game. I mean, heck, it's a 2.5-point spread. But if you're SMU and you're playing a Louisville team, with a questionable quarterback, literally and figuratively, down a couple of players, a team that just hasn't been, it just hasn't gone where they expected to go this year. You have got to figure out a way to beat that team. And that's Louisville right now. You have got to figure out a way to beat that team so you can stay in contention with Georgia Tech and Virginia for the top of the conference. Number 3, I mentioned Louisville. Let's talk about Louisville. You have to beat this team because I think this Louisville team, quite frankly, is done. Did y'all see the injury report that came out last night with Louisville? I mean, they got all sorts of dudes out that, quite frankly, my question was, and here's how you know a team might be done. Here's how you know a team might be like, all right, just pack it in for the season. Right. Here's how you know. When did Miller Moss get hurt? Because he's on the availability report listed as questionable, which is why I said literally and figuratively. Kewan Brown, when did he get hurt? I mean, Dalton Pence and I talked yesterday, and yeah, he said don't expect to see Isaac Brown, so we're gonna have to roam with Kewan Brown, and all of a sudden he's out. Guys, this is how you know a team might just be over it. This is how you know that there is a team that had expectations and knows they didn't reach it. So, all right, time to shut things down. Maybe we'll shut some things down. Maybe there's some ailments that you could have played with and played through, and by the way, played really good through, that they've said, all right, nah, not going to do it. You can't lose to that team, right? When you see mysterious random injuries pop up for a team, that's how you got to know, unless something serious happened in practice, which I don't know. Going on the Louisville side, I don't know. But you can't lose to that team. This is a Louisville team that I'll tell you what, and this is going to segue us to our next segment. But this is a Louisville team that if SMU gets ahead 10-0, 14-0, and Louisville's offense looks terrible at the beginning of the game, you're going to win that game. I don't think this Louisville team has a whole lot behind it to where if they don't start out good, they're just going to all of a sudden fester up the morale to come back and beat you on the road. I don't see that happening. Not after the Clemson loss. Not after the way that they finished that Clemson game. No, I just don't. I think this is a team that if you hit them in the mouth in the first quarter and get out to a double-digit lead, that team will be done. Just because of how the season has gone on. And the people that you see out, Miller Moss questionable, I just don't see it. So those are the reasons you got to beat this team. You got to win it for the fan base. Like, this is the game you win for your fans. Obviously, you're winning it. You're trying to win it because you want to stay in contention for a conference championship. And then really, if you look at the context of the season and the context of the availability report, there's no reason why this Louisville team should beat you. Coming up next, keys to the game. Some of it will roll over from this segment, so keep it here on Locked On SMU. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, and the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like some good college football. But let's be real, actually getting tickets to the game can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout, but that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. And it's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. And no matter the game I'm going to, college football, I bought tickets, Major League Baseball, minor league baseball, NBA, Mavericks, Thunder, the games that I go to based on where I'm at. No matter where I go to, I use Game Time. And I always use the feature to see my exact seat view from the seat before I buy it. Every single time. It's my favorite part of the app. And it's faster, it's cheaper, and it's less stressful than any other way I've ever bought tickets to sporting events. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets this season with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, welcome back to the show. Grayson Singleton here. Hey, make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can continue to grow this community, and follow me on Twitter. Love to interact with all of you as well at Gray_Singleton2. Okay, keys to the game for SMU to come out with a victory and stay alive for the conference championship. And number one, you have to get off to a hot start. A hot start is a must for this team. There should be no playing around with this Louisville team. Louisville, I know we've talked a lot about the offense this week and Miller Moss and the Brown running backs, whose last names are Brown, by the way, and obviously the news came out last night that neither of them are playing. Right. So the defense, though, is going to be what could carry Louisville to a victory. So you have to start out fast offensively. Like in the first two possessions, you have got to score on at least one of them. I would love to see at least 10 points on the board after SMU's first two drives. Because if you allow the defense for Louisville to settle in, that could make up for the offense being a little bit deficient and maybe give the rest of the team confidence that, hey, we could pull this off. All right? But like I said in the previous segment, this just seems to have the makings of a team that knows it's underachieved on the season, and if they get behind, isn't going to be able to muster up a bunch of resolve to come back in the game on the road, rowdy crowd, senior day, that whole sort of thing. Like, I mean, you're really fighting indifference if you're this Louisville team. Like, I believe that because we see it a lot. You see it a lot in college football at this point in the year with teams that know that they're out of it. I mean, Louisville was ranked as high as 15 in the college football playoff rankings and then lost that game to Clemson. They're probably just feeling like, all right, let's just get to bowl season. Like, I genuinely believe that's where they very well could be. So you have to start fast. You have to start fast with this team. No 3-0 at the end of one, down 3 at the end of one, 0-0 at the end of one. No, put a touchdown on the board in the first quarter. And I think that makes the rest of the game easier for you. It's not often you say that, but I think that's going to be the case. Key to the game number 2, play a clean game. Again, we talked about this on Tuesday, I believe, maybe Wednesday. But you cannot make the mistakes, whether it's turnovers, penalties, or what have you, that keep Louisville in a game. Because if you remember that Clemson-Louisville game last Friday night, what did I say? These two teams tried to give each other the game. Clemson and Louisville, they tried to lose that game. I mean, it was an excellent performance. It was an excellent performance. Deserved an Oscar for how to lose football games for both of those teams. Now, will Louisville allow you to get away with that in back-to-back weeks? I don't know. But I'd rather not tempt the fate. So play a clean game, play a clean 60 minutes, stay under 6 penalties, which I know for this team is, an arduous task. But if you can stay below or at a max of 6 penalties, if you can not turn the football over, not give up ill-timed sacks, not have busts in coverage, because I do think Louisville's key to this game is going to be to hit on a couple of big plays, especially given the weaknesses in SMU secondary. I think they're going to have to try to hit on some big plays to try to offset the fact that they've got 2 running backs on the shelf who have carried this offense the entirety of the year. So if you can limit the coverage busts, if you can be secure in your tackling defensively, not be overly penalized, and not turn the football over, I think you should be in good shape with this Louisville team. But SMU's mistakes cannot keep Louisville in this game. That cannot happen. In a game with the context like this, in a game where one team is more severely crippled by injuries, one team is not favored to win this game, you cannot give that team on the road more opportunities to feel like they can win the game. Look at the Wake Forest game. Look at Wake Forest. SMU clearly out-talented Wake Forest. But Wake Forest started to believe, if we can just pop one thing, we'll be in position to win the game. And you remember that what that one thing was? It was the last pass of the game that set up the game-winning field goal, right? Because SMU never separated and never put them away, and their own mistakes, coaching too, kept the other team in the game. Can't do that today. You cannot do it. Put this team away quick, fast, and in a hurry, and don't make errors that keep them in it. Key to the game number 3, I think, is the most tangible one. Put pressure on Miller Moss. Do not let him be comfortable. Cam Robertson, hopefully, he's back. Isaiah Smith, he's going to bring it. DJ Warner when he comes into the game. Let's get some interior pressure too. But this game is going to rely on Miller Moss if the Louisville running backs who are going to be playing can't get it done. This game is going to be on him. And like Dalton Pence told us earlier in the week, this is an offensive line that has finally started to round into form right around this time. So it's going to be more of a challenge than it had been earlier on in the season had you played them at that point. Granted, you'd probably have a fully loaded roster or a more fully loaded roster for Louisville, but you got to put pressure on this kid. On the road, fans going to be loud. He hasn't had that great of a season. What better way to beat this team than to make sure this quarterback is flustered, who's a one-read guy, who gets happy feet if his first read is taken away. Put pressure on him. Make him feel you. Don't let him get his feet underneath him. Don't let him get settled in. I think that's a must. Because if he can get settled in, and then, I got Colin Lacey to throw to. I got other wide receivers to throw to that can go make some plays for me. I can survey the field and maybe go through my progressions. I know there's a lot of quarterbacks we say they're a one-read guy. But I've watched enough football to know that even those one-read guys can sometimes have a day where if they get comfortable, they can go through their reads. Don't give him the opportunity to have that type of a day. So those are my 3 keys. That's what I'm looking at for this game. Don't make mistakes. Start fast. And put pressure on the quarterback. You do all 3 of those things. You win the mistakes game. You start fast. Maybe a 10-0 lead at the end of one, and Miller Moss is running for his life. I guarantee you're winning this game. If those 3 things happen. Check, check, check. SMU is winning this football game. And you're off to Cal for the regular season finale. Coming up next, recruiting giveth and recruiting taketh away. We'll close up the show talking about that next. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride a hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything, from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. And I like to do things like this when I'm at games that I'm not covering or I'm not working at, right? throw a little something on a parlay, like who's going to score the next touchdown, or who's going to lead the team in rushing yards, or how many rushing yards they're going to have in this college football season. Plus, you know me as a Lakers fan, you see the LeBron logo here. Every time I watch a national TV Lakers game, there's always just a little bit of money on it just so I can stress myself out more and subject myself even more to that. But right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets to use across the app when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, final segment on Locked On SMU for the week. Let's wrap this up, by the way, talking about some recruiting. And we mentioned recruiting in Wednesday's episode. Took a break from it on Thursday because we brought in Dalton Pence. But there's some good news on the recruiting trail, and there's some not so great news on the recruiting trail. Let's talk with the good news first. We mentioned the offensive tackle Max Wright, who is committed to the University of Texas. He will be on campus this week. He's going to be on campus this week, and then he will return to Austin and be on campus for Texas's regular season finale against Texas A&M. So that is how he is going to finish out his visit slate before he makes a decision on early signing day. And signing day, by the way, is less than 2 weeks away. It is 12 days away because it's not next Wednesday, but it's the Wednesday after. The Wednesday after Thanksgiving is going to be early signing day. So obviously, if you're unfamiliar with the recruiting landscape of things, I'd say about 99.5% of prospects sign on early signing day. So next Wednesday is going to be a really huge day. But Max Wright, the smoke is still there for him to possibly flip to SMU. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people in the SMU staff that are confident that this is going to get done. Now, I brought up Max Wright's measurables in our show a couple of days ago. But if you're unfamiliar or you missed that show, Max Wright, 3-star tackle from Melissa High School in Melissa, Texas, committed to Texas back in February. 6'8", 310 pounds. That'll play. Moves well for a dude at that size. So he can be a dude that you get him with Garen Justice, that he could turn out to be a really good player. Already's got really good size on him. So keep that one in mind. 3-star tackle from Melissa, Max Wright, visiting SMU this weekend. And also, I'd left this out of the opening segment of why you have to win it. But hey, try to keep some momentum with some of these recruits, by the way. Also, on tap is Alexander Herrera. He's a 3-star tackle as well from Crowley, 6'7", 315. He's a 3-star as well. This is another dude that Garen Justice, by the way, trying to bring in volume in the 2026 recruiting class, trying to work on some late momentum right before signing day, because you already have 3 offensive linemen committed. If you're SMU, you have the tackle Evan Goodwin, 4-star from Bauxite, Arkansas. You have the 4-star interior offensive lineman Drew Evers from Flower Mound, Texas, who has been committed for a while now. You beat Oklahoma and Ohio State for him. And then you have Papungatoa Katoa, 3-star interior offensive lineman as well from the DFW area from Euless Trinity High School. So Garen Justice has done good work, but he's trying to add a couple of more before signing day to make it a 5-man offensive line class in 2026. So the Max Wright flip watch, I think, could potentially end up with something positive for SMU. Herrera, not sure. We'll have to see how the visit goes this weekend. Now for the bad. We haven't talked about him a whole lot because there just hasn't been a reason to talk about him a whole lot ever since we launched this show. But Markel Ford, the safety from Mesquite Horn High School down here in Dallas. He's a 3-star dude. At one point in his career, was a little bit higher in the rankings. I believe at one point he might have been a 4-star, and if he wasn't, he was on the borderline of it. Not an excellent junior season. Has come back, has added muscle. He's gotten bigger, and his senior tape is really, really good. Senior tape's really good for Markel Ford. He is visiting Oklahoma this weekend, which is the team I cover for my day job. In case you don't know, he will be up here in Norman this weekend for the Oklahoma-Missouri game. And if you've looked at any of the RPM projections on Rivals, there is heavy belief that the 3-star safety from Mesquite Horn is going to flip to Oklahoma. That has been the buzz for a couple of days now. Remember, if you go back a couple episodes ago, for all you everydayers out here who we appreciate you making us your first listen. If you remember a couple of days ago, I mentioned that there was a guy in SMU's class that is currently committed to SMU that could potentially flip elsewhere. This is the guy who I was talking about. It's Markel Ford. Right now, it's a 96.2 prediction that he ends up signing with the University of Oklahoma. And I do believe that is going to be the case from what I have heard over the last couple of days, is that Markel Ford will eventually flip to Oklahoma. Now, if you want some background on this, I can give it to you, because Markel Ford was originally a heavy lean toward Oklahoma, and we thought this is where he was going to be all along. Ended up committing to Texas A&M, and then decommitted and flipped to SMU, and now Oklahoma staff has re-engaged and pretty much has done all the legwork to where if the visit goes how it should, Markel Ford will be signing with the Sooners. So a little bit of give and take for recruiting this weekend. Hopefully Max Wright, that situation goes in SMU's favor, the 3-star tackle from Melissa. You would love to keep a guy like that in the DFW area, but it does look like, as of right now, I would be surprised if SMU was able to hold on to the 3-star safety Markel Ford as we approach signing day. And of course, recruiting is going to be a turnstile these last 12 days before the early signing day. But that'll do it for Locked On SMU as we take you into the weekend and root on the Mustangs for a victory over Louisville. For your second listen of the day, by the way, we appreciate you making us your first listen of the day. But for your second listen, hey, make sure you check out Locked On ACC, our conference show with Alex Dono and Kenton Gibbs. And they take you through all of the ACC storylines, because this conference is nuts, especially the conference championship race in which SMU is firmly entrenched. We'll talk to you guys next week here on Locked On SMU. Take it easy, everybody.